Welcome to February, Capricorn. Thanks for subscribing. You'll be able to find me in the sea of YouTube videos next month. This February, your birthday month is completed. You're rolling along. And February begins with the sun being on the heliocentric node of Neptune, the moon in Pisces connected to Neptune. And what that means is that there's this really creative, intuitive vibration that we begin the month with. And in addition, what's really important for you is the day before Venus went direct in your sign, in Capricorn, with Pluto. And so there's this big push forward for you to make sure. It's like the universe wants you to make sure that you love yourself, right? Venus in your sign, self-love, self-worth, and doing things that you really feel that you can embrace for yourself. It isn't about having a big ego or being better than. It's nothing about that. It's a real feeling that wherever I am in life right now, it's okay. I'm moving forward and I believe in myself. It's that inner confidence. The Mercury goes retrograde on February 6th. And you see that Mercury dips into Pisces to go retrograde, connected to Neptune again. That same energy that we started the month with, very creative, very intuitive. But with Neptune, it's the unknown, that which can't be seen. It's the other side. So this Mercury is thoughts and intellect. So it's about getting a sense of ideas, not actually having to have a very specific Capricorn, give me the facts. Be creative. Just let me think about things that I wouldn't normally think about. And then when it goes back to the Aquarian energy, because it's going to go direct from the Aquarian energy, it will bring that more quality of what to do. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later. On February 14th, Valentine's Day, the full moon, what more could be better? So, but the full moon always brings out deeper emotions. This depth of feeling, this depth of wave of emotions. But the angle of the full moon for you is between this is called the solar second house where the sun is. Has to do with finances and among other things, really your resources. What can you count on? And the eighth house, the solar eighth house, is other people's money or other people's resources. It doesn't have to be an individual. It can be like a public park that you get to use, or a library that you get to use, or the roads that you get to drive on. So it's not necessarily just about somebody else's money, but it's also money that you owe others, right? Like credit cards. And so there's this opening of awareness about having that in balance. And if you think of it in just income outgo, in the money sector, it's balancing your checkbook and balancing what goes out, what comes in. And also, do you feel, so we're on Valentine's Day with this full moon, do you feel that what you give is a measure of how much you love, or what you get is a measure of how much you're loved? So there's an awareness energy to open up here. The sun enters Pisces on the 18th. And it is shifting into what's called your solar third house, but it's an angle to your Capricorn sun that represents communication and expression. And in Pisces, it's very interesting because in Pisces, the communication and the expression can be unclear. So are you really clear with your communication? Or do you expect people just to understand what you're saying? Like you do something so they should understand what you mean, what you're trying to communicate through what you're doing or not doing. So make sure that your communication is on target, that not always everybody can pick up. If I don't show up, what does it mean? If I need something, if I need somebody to do something, and I say one sentence, they might need to hear it in a lot of other ways, but you could have this sense that, well, they should just be able to get it. They should be able to intuitively know it. Like sometimes you might pick it up. 4 to 5 days later, the sun's connecting with Neptune. And so the first few days of 18th, 19th, 20th, there's this creative energy again that's coming into place. The end of the month, on the last day, the 28th, Mercury goes direct. And if you recall, when Mercury went retrograde, this is just how it happens, the sun was at 18 degrees of Aquarius. Well, when Mercury goes direct, it goes direct at the degree of the sun when it went retrograde. That's just a little technical thing for those who are learning more astrology. But what it really means is that it went into the sign of Pisces, that creative, the unknowing, that mystical placement of getting ideas from the creative realm. They don't necessarily have to make logical sense. But then it brings it back into Aquarian, which is very logical. It's a scientist thinking outside of the box. It brings it back to the Aquarius energy. And so you can take this very creative idea like, oh, I don't know how that's ever going to happen. And you bring it back to Aquarius. And then you have the ability to figure it out. So whatever you are trying to overcome in your life or create in your life or whatever's important for you in your life, go to the place of something that could be, oh, that's not realistic. So allow yourself those unrealistic thoughts and then bring them back to the logical part. So where's it being brought back to? It has to do with money. So a side of you could say, well, I would really like to go get my degree in such and such, or I would really like to move here. I would really like to travel the world or whatever. I really like to do this or that, whatever it is. And allow yourself that unrealistic part. And then when it goes direct again, it's going in your second house of resources because your mind, your Capricorn mind said, but who's going to pay for that? How am I going to be able to pay for that? How am I going to be able to make that happen? Do I have the time? Do I have this? Do I have the talent? Then allow Mercury to figure it out through unseen ideas that can pop into your mind that are in ways of thinking that you haven't thought before. The last day of February is very important because as we move into March, Mars here is going to go retrograde. So it's what's called stationing. It's very slow. Whenever a planet's slow, it has more punch to it. And it's in Libra, in an angle to your Capricorn energy. That's called a square, and that's a tension energy. But this angle to your Capricorn is stirring up things about your career, your job, who you want to be in the world. And you may find some antagonistic energy at work, but it's the purpose of it is to put energy into work, to put your motivation into, I want to clarify work. Yes, it is your job, but your work is your life. It's what you want to do with your life, to be motivated about your life. The other thing to notice is that when we start the month, the North Node is in Scorpio. So there's been this pull towards understanding our commitments to each other, what your commitments to life. I owe you this, you owe me this, spoken and unspoken. And there's more to it, but it's been there for the last 18 months. And for you personally, it's been pulling you towards figuring out what groups, what friends are best for you to walk along the road of life with. By the end of the month, the North Node has gone into Libra. So this is and we'll be here for the next 18 months. So the shift is going towards what is my vision of my life? What is the vision of what's important for me to be able to say at the end of my life, I lived it for me and I have no regrets. So it was big month this month, big month next month.